Hey guys, by now you guys might have watched the first part of the video and the second part of the video where we talked about how to draft the half scale basic bodice pattern, the full scale, okay, and also the gown block and your contouring. Okay, so by now what we need to do now is to now this block that we have done, this is the block that we have done, is a master pattern. Okay, so once you are done drafting, okay, this is a master pattern. So anytime I want to make any design, I can just trace out the part that I want and use it. Okay, so if it is the half scale bodice pattern that you want to use, okay, or if it is the contoured half scale bodice pattern you want to use, this is what you need to do. For those that might be confused on how to go about this pattern, okay, so for this pattern I'm going to be altering it into a bustier. Okay, I've already gone ahead to teach you guys how to contour your how to contour the underbust. Okay, so I'm going to be altering this, I'm going to be cutting this into a bustier. Now if you want to make a gown with waist seam, okay, that is joining at the waistline, you are going to be tracing out, you're going to put another, and like I've already gone ahead to trace out the paper. Okay, so you are going, if you don't want, if you want to make use of this as your master part, that is whenever you want to make a dress for this particular hip size, you can just bring out the master pattern and trace it out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is this. Let's say I want to make a gown, okay, with a waist seam. Okay, you are going to be tracing from your shoulder to your waistline. Okay, you are tracing out everything. Okay, you're just going, you take your tracing wheel and you are tracing out everything. Okay, please take note of it. You are tracing out everything to the waistline. Here you trace out the dots and everything, you trace out this part and everything. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be making this into a gown, okay, that has waist joining. So what we need to do first is you are going to be tracing out the half scale bodice. Okay, so take your tracing wheel and trace out everything here, that is for the back. Okay, now you do the same thing, and when you are tracing, make sure you have your paper on your back. So when you are done tracing the back, you go ahead and also trace the front. Okay, so this is the half length for the front, so you're going to be tracing out everything. You trace out the dart, trace out everything for the half scale here. Okay, so I've already gone ahead to do that, which is what I have here on this paper. It's already gone ahead to do that. So for the skirt part, you're also going to take your another paper and trace out the skirt part. That is if you want to keep this pattern as your master pattern. Okay, so what we need to do, I'm going to be tracing out the skirt part. Okay, remember this is our waistline. Okay, this is our waistline, so you're going to be tracing out the skirt part like this. Okay, trace out the skirt part to the desired length. Okay, you trace out the back, then you trace out the front. So I'm going to be doing this now. I hope you guys understand. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to be closing the dart for this part. Okay, I'm going to be closing the dart for this, but I'm going to be showing you guys everything. Okay, so you're going to be, this is the skirt part, you're going to be tracing out everything like this for the skirt part. Okay, you're tracing out everything, trace it out on another fresh paper underneath. I hope you understand. Okay, so I'll keep this aside now, and we are going to be altering, we're going to be cutting. So I've already gone ahead to trace out everything, to trace out. So this is the dart that you saw on the pattern. Okay, this is the dart that you saw on the pattern. Okay, so here's the dart on the pattern. Okay, so what we need to do now is this. I'll just go ahead and add my seam allowance to this. Okay, I'll add 1.5 seam allowance. Okay, 1.5 inches seam allowance. Okay, then I'll connect it like so. You can as well do this on your fabric. Okay, and as well do this on your fabric, then I'll connect it like so, then add half-inch seam allowance here. Okay, add half-inch seam allowance here as well. Okay, now you need to transfer this dart. Okay, you need to transfer it so that you, in case like okay, now let's assume you want to make a shoulder dart. This is a perfect pattern for a shoulder dart. Okay, that is if you want to make a shoulder, this is a perfect pattern for a shoulder dart. Let's say you don't want to make a shoulder dart, you want to make a princess armhole dart. Okay, armhole princess dart. What you need to do is you can locate the midpoint, or you can use the chest line. Okay, so you can just connect like this from your bust point to the chest line. Okay, this is the bust point. From the bust point to the chest line, you can just connect it like this. Okay, now let's alter this into a armhole princess dart. So make sure you what is it called, make sure you blend any sharp points on this area here. Okay, make sure you blend any sharp points on this area. So what I need to do now, I'm going to be closing this dart here. Okay, for those of you that might be confused on how to go about this.
So and the rule is, before you close any dart, in order for you to have a flat pattern, you need to slash open another area. Okay, so as what I did here, I slashed the waist dart. Okay, then you go ahead and close your shoulder dart. Now the main essence of slashing is to have a flat pattern. Okay, so that your pattern will not be poking up and down, will not be so that your pattern will be relaxed. Yes, that is the main essence of having to slash another area. So now when you are done closing that shoulder dart, you need to tape it down. So we are taping it down permanently, right? So if you don't want to slash open the waist dart, you can as well go ahead and slash the armhole dart that you just created. Okay, so once you are done with this, you need to take note of the sharp point, because one of the main reason why you have sharp points on your bustier is if the bust line is not well blended. Okay, so you need to take your time and blend the bust line like so that at the end of the day, when you are done sewing your bustier, you are not going to be having any sharp points around that area. So at this point we are done with this. Okay, so what we need to do now is to add, okay, you can go ahead and add your seam allowance. Okay, because there is enough allowance on my paper, so I can go ahead and add my seam. So I'm adding ½ inch seam allowance to the waistline. Okay, so add your ½ inch seam allowance to the waistline, and I added 1.5 to the side seam, and I added ½ inch seam allowance to the armhole. Okay, so as so guys, I'll be altering the neckline as well. Okay, remember we took 3 inches neck width. Okay, so I'll extend it by ½ inch. Okay, then I'm going to be making a kind of a V neckline. Yes, I'm going to be making a V neckline, so you can see how I'm connecting the line. Okay, so one thing with V neckline is this: once you are making it, the rule is, or the principle is, once you are making a neckline that is wide, okay, so you need to take a contouring dart. Okay, you need to take a gaping dart. You need to tighten the neckline to avoid gaping. So around that, locate any point around the neck area. Then I took in 0.5 for my gaping dart. Okay, it's very, very important, so that at the end of the day, your neckline will not be gaping. It will be well relaxed on your neck area. Okay, so I took 0.5 and I connected all the way to the bust point. Okay, so after taking your dart like so, you're going to permanently close that dart. Okay, you're going to permanently close that dart. Then and when you permanently close the dart, there is, your neckline is going to alternate. Okay, so let me not move, let me just let us just tape this down now, so that you guys can actually understand what I'm about to tell you. Okay, so take your time, and the bottom line of all these things that we are doing is to just have a perfect fit. Okay, you don't want to have any fitting issues at the end of the day. So once you are done taping down, okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm taping down the neckline. I'm permanently taping it down. So you can do this to any neckline at all. Okay, so once you're done taping the neckline will definitely alternate. So we're going to be reconnecting the neckline like so. Okay, so that we have an equal line. So I also went ahead to alter the neckline. Okay, that is, I extended the neck width by half. Okay, then I'm adding my ½ inch seam allowance at the shoulder line. Okay, I think at this point we are done, so we are going to be cutting out our pattern. So let me not rush this video, because I want you guys to go on this journey with me, like I've said earlier on. Okay, so I'm just taking my time to explain the things needed for it to be explained, so that you can actually get it once and for all. Okay, so at this point I'm done with the front pattern. Okay,
so guys, for the back piece, okay, for the back pattern, so remember that we have a shoulder dart there, okay, and I just want to make the back into just a waist, with just a waist dart. So we are going to be eliminating the shoulder dart from there. So there are two ways to doing this. You can either take away half inch from that shoulder tip and just cut out, or you are going to be closing the dart just like what I'm doing here. Okay, so I chose to close the dart. It's more easier for me. Okay, so you can choose to take half inch away from the shoulder tip, okay, and just cut it out. Okay, so that is what I just decided to close the dart at this point. So you take your tape and permanently tape it down. I hope you understand. So once you are done with that, um so once you're done with that, the next thing you need to do is to take the front pattern, okay, because we alter the neckline. So you're going to be effecting the same thing on the back. So you're going to be taking the front pattern, you fit, you align both the shoulder for the front and shoulder for the back, then cut out the excess on the back pattern, okay, cut out the excess on the back pattern. Just pay attention to what I'm doing, okay. Cut out the excess on the back pattern, okay, just mark it out. So once you mark it out, you can decide to as well alter the neck depth of the back, okay. So I'll be altering the neck depth. I'll make the neck depth a little bit lower, then I'll connect it like so, okay. So once you are done with that part, you can just take your ruler and just draw out the line. So one thing I do for my back is, once the back depth is lower, I also take a gaping dart of 0.5 or 0.25 and connect it, okay, connect it sideways towards the armhole area, so that at the end of the day the back will not be gaping, okay, to make everything relax. So just take your time and do this. At the end of the day, you love the fit of your dress, okay. Just go through the stress, and so that once you are done journeying on your sewing machine, to be easier for you and you have no fitting issues, okay. So you are going to be permanently taping down the neckline like so. That is for the back, okay. So once we are done, I think we are done at this stage. So at this point, when after connecting the gaping, that it will, the neckline will definitely alternate. So you need to redraw the neckline and you are going to be cutting it out. Okay. So you can now go ahead and add your necessary seam allowances. So you add half inch to the down part of the bodice. Okay. Remember I added 1.5 inches to the side of,
then half inch here. So you can now cut out. So half inch for this part, okay. So we are done. This is what we have. So once you are done, you match the side, okay, to see whether the side is actually equal. From here you can see that everything is equal here. So you're going to be transferring this to our fabric. Here is a skirt part, okay. I've already gone ahead to trace out the skirt part, okay. So this is what I did. I went ahead, this is where they have body stopped, okay. So I just went ahead and traced out everything like this, okay. I traced out everything, then I did the same thing to the back as well. This is where the half length stopped, okay. So I traced out everything on another paper, okay. So this is going to be our master pattern. I can decide to take any design of my choice from this master pattern here. So I'm going to be keeping it aside, okay. So usually I don't like seeing that on my dresses, so I am going to be closing up the holders, okay. So I'm going to be closing the holders. So I'll go ahead and close the back dart. Okay, I'm going to be closing the back dart like so. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close the back dart like so. So I'm going ahead to close this dart, and make sure you label center back, side back, so that you're not going to be mixing it up. So I'll go ahead as well and close this front dart. Okay, I can decide to cut it out like so. Okay, then just close it, right? Go ahead and close your darts. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going ahead to close my dart, so that I'm going to be having a dartless skirt. Okay, I'm going to be having a dartless skirt. Okay, so this is what we have. So at this point now, I'm just going to be cutting it out. Remember this pattern, I have not added my seam allowances to it. Okay, this is what I have here. Okay, so I can go ahead and add my back seam allowance, which is 1 inch. Okay, can go ahead and add my 1 inch to this part. Okay, then half inch. So this is what we have for the back. I'm going to be labeling it center back. Okay, up. So this is the back, and here is the front. Okay, here is the front, then here is the upper part. Okay, so here is the upper part. So let's fit it. Here is the upper part. So what we need to do now is to transfer this to our fabric. Okay,